Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Strip Poker Night at the Inventory podcast. I'm your host, spnanon, and this is episode 55. Spent like a minute just checking that.
And I am your co-host, nmasp. On with us today is the wonderful Clockwork. We'll let him introduce himself and his projects, but it's good to be here. After our long, wonderful winter cast, none of us are using a vocoder to speak. Life is good. So, Clockwork, why don't you tell us about your projects, what you're working on in SPNatI, interesting things of that nature.
Sorry, but I've there was a couple episodes back. I very confidently said what episode number it was, and I was wrong. So I don't want to make that mistake again.
That's
anyway,
like Welcome to Consulting 101. You just pretend to know what you're doing very confidently, and if you're a really good consultant, people believe you.
And yeah, you just say whatever you like, and
not when you're immediately contradicted by the title.
Well, get good.
No, the internet is the internet never cares about people being wrong about things. It's famously they never correct people.
Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, right. So I'm Clockwork. I head writer for pretty much only writer at this point for Mercy. I've got Hilda and Aaravi on the testing roster. Hilda was actually the one I started first, but went with the masquerade happened, and I was like, hey, that makes sense to have someone who's someone make a model for me, and yeah, that went pretty well. That's basically it, I think.
Yes, very fortuitous to have you on because we will actually be covering Aaravi on the testing tables a bit later on, because as is the new standard, we are starting with the main roster editions. It's been it's been a hot minute since the last podcast because we kind of did that AMA in between. So we are covering some stuff from back like in October. It is now mid-January 2022, but we should be able to carve out quite a few of them.
A chunk of this, at least.
Yeah. Steadily work, and then it'll be replaced by like 6 more.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's been like 5 editions even since I made this agenda. And we're worried about people, or the flow of characters slowing down, and it keeps accelerating. Who's making all these characters?
It's an insolvable problem.
Yeah, well, it's we're totally going to clear out testing at some point one of these days.
Who's making all these characters? I just want to.
It's a lot of new people, which is great. Like, it's good for the hobby.
I just want to cuddle with my wife.
Tough shit. All right, so
ready to get started?
Yeah. So Clockwork gave a chance to introduce himself with his characters, so we're good to go. And yeah, let's just dive right in. So right now on the main roster, the first of our characters we'll be touching today, figuratively, if not literally, is Hu Tao from Genshin Impact. So Clockwork, why don't you start us off? Hu Tao clan, Wu-Tang clan.
I know that you haven't, Mass, but I've actually played Genshin.
This is the first of many Genshin Impact characters that will be covered today.
Yeah, oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's one came up in like a couple of days before we recorded this, so
there's so many.
Or anything.
We went from like 1 in like August, like 6 or 7.
Yeah,
January.
I've been planning.
Yeah, I was like Sucrose. I'm like, whatever. People will make characters from this franchise, and now it's just like the tide has awakened. Fire Emblem, get fucked.
Fire Emblem is so 2019.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I've actually played Genshin, which I don't personally have Hu Tao, but she's been in a couple of story quests, so I've spoken to her a bit, and I think Napsu's really captured her voice very well. She seems appropriately mischievous, and she's just goddamn adorable. She's good. She's good, is what I'm saying.
For the record, like this main roster, we don't have to be like super detailed, especially if you've given your thoughts already. As a guest, you haven't, so if you want to say a little more on them, you can. But
Yeah, like what do you like about her? You said that. What don't you like about her? What do you want to see in the future? The last one being like a neutral judgment.
Yeah. Well, I should have put more time into thinking about this part of it because I've got extensive notes for testing characters, but I did not think about this.
All right, you can keep it simple.
Yeah, her teasing is very well done. Her poses. Horse Killer's done a great job as always, and especially the art. It's the butterflies in particular are very very impressive. I'd love to see more interaction between the Genshin characters, but because of locational distance in universe, we've got relatively few. Well, we've got just a new addition to the Leeway characters, but fewer, more Mondstadt, I think, at the moment, which makes that a little harder. But yeah, it's still she's good.
Laugh really hard. I'm gonna laugh really hard if it's like the first 4 from Mondstadt, the second 4 from Leeway or whatever, and then the next 4 from
Leeway.
I am butchering it. I am 100% sure.
Oh yeah. No, I have resigned myself to knowing that I will never be able to correctly pronounce the characters from the China kind of Taiwan kind of Asia-ish area. Anyway, I'm going to butcher that constantly.
These are just arbitrary distinctions between anime girls, much like the blue deer or whatever, and the black eagles and three houses.
Yeah, it's more like Leeway or something like that. Anyway, so there we go.
Yeah.
Team Mondstadt, Team Leeway, Team Golden Deer.
Yeah, Leeway. Anyway, so good stuff.
Yeah, and we'll probably get an Inazuma character at some point. That'll be cool.
What's
Probably.
Inazuma?
It's Japan.
It's Japan.
Okay. SPNatI. You got it. I gotta beat the finisher, man.
She's good. I like a lot of main roster characters. I mean, she was pretty good when she started, which means she's pretty good now, which means I don't have a lot of like extra new things to say. She didn't change a whole lot between testing and main roster. She just continued to improve on and iterate on what she was doing. It's notable, like this, Napsu has made very clear, like, this is my shot at row 1. Like, I'm here to take names. I find it...
It's coming up soon. Get to 3,000 lines.
Find it kind of suspect. I don't know. It's weird. This is not what I would choose if I wanted to make like guaranteed row 1 character. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a boomer who doesn't play phone games.
I think Genshin Impact has like, ironically, a lot of impact. I think she's going to do really well. I don't know if it's row 1 well, but I think she's going to do really well.
You know, it used to be like Girls Frontline a couple of years ago, and you know,
no one made characters from that though.
Yes, they did.
No, they made it to the main roster. Oh, except PA-15.
Yeah,
Misty. You know, the man, the survivor. He did it.
All I'm saying is this could be like kind of flavor of the month in a couple of years, I guess. Flavor of the year.
Oh, 100%. But you know, we're not there yet.
For my money, that's kind of niche, you know, like a gremlin. I don't know, if I was going for like a guaranteed row 1, ironically, we'll talk about her later, I would make like Samus.
We'll talk about Samus later. I would agree with that.
Timeless, you know?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I personally am a fan of gremlins, but
you want like lifetime achievement award in porn? Like, you know, like Nami has that. Anyway, what were you saying, Clockwork? I was talking over you.
Oh, I was going to say, I personally am a fan of Gremlins, so I'm biased here, probably.
I mean, it's a good movie, but what does that have to do with Natty?
Well, it's, you know, you shouldn't feed Hu Tao after midnight. It's an important rule to follow.
Shouldn't get her wet.
She gets herself wet.
I do really like her dirty talk. nmasp, you want to end things off with the game that you made characters for, but you yourself are not allowed to play?
Yeah.
According to house rules.
I mean, Hu Tao's really great. I am not having a gun held to my head or anything like that. I really do like her. I think she's a really interesting character. I think, like, it just baffles me, the ability for Napsu to just like sit down and write one of these characters and have like every line have something like unique to that character. But I do think all of her characters are gremlins. So it's kind of like, if you can encapsulate that energy, you can put it towards all kinds of uses. But I think...
Didn't you write Leon in one day?
Yeah, I can talk about that if we get to him in testing. But
was that chemically aided?
No. We'll talk about that later.
I don't know if we're gonna get to him, but
yeah, I know we've but anyway, I've written a lot of lines to Hutao from Leon, so I like her a lot, and I will let the implications of that be whatever people want them to be. All right, so moving on to Petra.
Yeah, speaking of Fire Emblem, sausage biscuit herself, Petra.
Yeah, well, our first Fire Emblem character, Petra.
Yeah, I can't believe it's been this long before we got a Fire Emblem character. Just spectacular.
Yeah, it's frankly crazy.
She might be my favorite one.
No, she's very good.
Hilda's my favorite, but like Petra's great. I love Petra. I have a lot to say about Petra, which we'll get to in a second. Do you know who really likes Petra, by the way? Napsu. Napsu fucking loves Petra, but I'm like, why don't you target her? And she's just like fucking. She has like that whole like she has this face basically, but like in real life.
I don't think I've ever heard her say anything about Petra.
She talks about her a lot in like the kitchen, and she's like, I wish like every Fire Emblem character could be as interesting as Petra. And I'm just like, I don't understand this, but okay, good for you.
Well, why?
I don't know. Like, that's the thing, is it just baffles me. I'm like, what about this character? And she's like, well, I really like the way she's written. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but like, what about how that's done? And she's like, and then she just like smugly looks at me and then just like goes back to what she's doing. And I'm like, that's not an answer. It drives me fucking crazy. Anyway,
I think I really like how she herself is kind of a foreigner in universe, which means she's like interested in other people instead of like saying vaguely medieval weird shit I don't understand.
Yeah, that's true. Clockwork can probably comment a little bit about it.
Another game I've actually played. So I've played Three Houses. Petra was one of the first characters I married when I played a game. So obviously I got a little bit of bias. I'm a fan. I think it was Nord who wrote it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Nord did a really good job at capturing her voice and her manner of speaking, and has explored some of the really interesting aspects of her character in like the things that the original creators just didn't explore. Like they kind of gestured over to the west of Fodlan, and it was like, yeah, some interesting stuff going on over there, but that's not important. Let's look over here now. And Nord's kind of looked at that stuff and gone, yeah, I'm gonna flesh that out a little bit because she's a cool character, and there's fun stuff involving, well, not fun, but imperialism and interesting character development stuff that you can use there.
Like I said, I think it's just that how she's just so genuinely interested in others, and she kind of she's got this cute way of speaking because she's not quite fluent. I mean, she's basically fluent, but she just has like weird turns of phrase. But she's not stupid at the same time. She's not just like funny foreigner girl. I think
she's like Starfire.
It's just she's just really endearing.
But I like her better than I actually like her better than Starfire. I'm sorry, honey. Just because.
Well, she's getting updates for one thing.
Yeah, I think she has more lines than Starfire too. Yes, she does. She has more lines than Starfire. Great job.
Didn't everyone say that Starfire is basically just Asian coded? So like,
I think she's right about that. Like, she has a more compelling argument than I can articulate. But just like mention her and SPNatI general, which we'll get back to on that.
I don't know if she likes Petra for the same reason.
I wouldn't be surprised. That makes a lot of sense now. Wow, I feel like an idiot. But anyway, what were you saying? Yeah, Petra's great. I think she's really cute. I think the feedback I gave like during the previous cast has mostly been rectified. I think the one thing I would give advice to Nord as like a writer is like you can't save all of these projects. Like something I've seen Nord doing a lot is just picking up projects and bringing them to completion, which is like, okay, in fairness, I did that with like Say, which is good. But you know, just like it's okay to not have like a dozen characters. Like focus on a couple of them, and you're going to be in good shape. And I think Petra has very good reasons to be one of them. She's just interesting. Like she has like interesting perspectives on things. So I can imagine targeting her with a bunch of different characters and getting a bunch of different responses back.
Yeah.
For one, I just really enjoyed trying, like as Maya, trying to get her to understand what a dread was, like a space gunship. She doesn't. I mean, first of all, there's the language barrier, and second, like Petra, Maya's like, "Oh, you know what a plane is, right?" And Petra's like, "What?" Still doesn't
Petra and Sucrose is also really fun because this is like Sucrose just speaks very obliquely, and Petra's like, "I'm going to be real with you. I don't know what you're saying."
Sucrose uses words even native speakers have trouble with.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry, what were you saying, Clockwork?
Yeah. Oh, I was just making a joke. Like, you know, yeah, you start with a car but make it fly. What's a car? All right,
What's a machine?
Okay, so you know bikes. Does that work?
I don't know what that is either.
Eventually, she kind of understood because she knows what a ship is. So basically, like a convoy, like a fleet of smaller ships defending a larger one, stuff like that. But anyway, we're getting off topic. Next on the main roster, nmasp as the resident boomer. Would you like to introduce this 2009 anime?
Can't believe that was a 2009 anime. I hate this. I hate the fact this makes me feel so fucking old. Yeah, Stalking. Stalking from Panty and Stalking with
I think has gotten a model update since we talked about it.
AKA the most Westaboo of shows.
It's basically a Cartoon Network show.
It's really interesting. I like Stalking a lot, but I'll let Clockwork give his 2 cents.
Yeah, it's been goddamn forever since I actually saw Patty and Stocking with Garter Belt, but she's cute. I like her. Goth with hair and sweets, and yeah, no, she's good. She's appropriately snarky and very, yeah, I just enjoy her. She's one of the internet's big, or at least the corners of the internet that I visit, they're very big fans of her as a character, not specifically SPNatI.
Well, that just speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think I've done her justice. Disregarding my own personal tastes, they've done her justice. Yeah.
I gotta say, SPNatI, you go ahead and give your opinion, but my TLDR on Stalking is like, yeah, I'll give my opinion later. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure her model has been kind of spruced up a little since we talked about her. I could be wrong on that, but like her hair is a little shorter and kind of like fits the shape better. It's not like dragging along the floor anymore, or like she'd be kicking it.
Yeah, I think that was to do with the chair. I think I could be misremembering that, but it looks really good.
Dialogue-wise, I don't think she's changed a whole much, but I liked what I liked what I saw the first time I played with her, so I'm happy to see her on main roster. I think she might have, I like her writing, like compared to Panty. I think it's a little stronger. Panty has some kind of issues with like diction and tone. I think, and like emphasis and like word choice and stuff. That kind of takes me out of it. Where she speaks a little too matter of factly. But Stalking, I think, really gets across that like smug energy really well, and the posing too.
Yeah, well, she's just a more modern character, which
That's
very much in her favor.
I really like Stalking. My only complaint, Carvel, is like she's just such a bitch, which is like true to the character, but like her generics are so good that it's almost a shame to have her target things because like it's just like it's difficult to have a conversation with her without her just being a huge asshole, which is like kind of funny when it's like someone else doing it, but when you're trying to write like an interaction, it makes it very difficult to want to continue it. Because like
that's something I think we can I can say more on with the testing slate this time around, but just like very antisocial characters.
Yeah, but
You
I
try
think
to start a
like,
conversation, they're just like, fuck you.
yeah,
I don't want to explain myself.
I think Stalking is great. I think Stalking is like absolutely phenomenal. I think she has some of the best generics in the game. Carvel, you're a really good writer. Keep doing it. And who did the modeling for this? Of course, it was Blue Jay and Joe. Blue Jay, keep doing what you're doing. Joe, welcome back. Don't leave us. All right. Anyway, I like Stalking a lot. I just think she's very difficult to have like a meaningful conversation with, and that's something that like I would love to target her with Leon, and they can both just like jizz out over like killing ghosts and undead things, but I'm afraid to do it because I'm a coward, but also because just getting out ahead of that one. But because like I'm just afraid she's just gonna be like a huge asshole to like everyone that's not like an absolute fucking degenerate. So, Anyway, there's also like a lot of really nice little lines in here where it's like she's targeting like other characters that like Panty's like, Stalking would like that, and Stalking's like, no, I fucking wouldn't. Shut up, bitch. Like the voice is really well done. I really like Stalking. She's great. A+ from me.
It's nice to have the two sisters as just like, these are characters that would totally play strip poker.
Oh, 100%. Like 100%.
That could just be an episode of Penny and Stalking. I don't know.
That's just it's just an episode of their show. Yeah, this is the unanimated OVA.
Well, then it's not an OVA, is it?
No, it's the
It's just original.
Yeah, original
Still frame.
Yeah,
Kisuke browser game.
yeah, but that's got less of a ring to it, I think.
Are we ready to move on to, speaking of model updates, Fluttershy, who received one alongside, like, two other ponies? What was it, Twilight and Pinkie Pie, I think, also received updates in a similar vein?
I think so, yeah. That sounds right.
They're going 1-to-1.
Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash. Yeah, I think it's Rarity next, right? But yeah,
did Rainbow Dash get one too?
Pinkie Pie, Twilight Sparkle.
Yeah.
I've learned more about My Little Pony from fucking SPNatI, which is like just so on brand for like the type of person that I am.
That sounds a lot worse than it actually is.
I mean, I wouldn't tell anyone in real life that. That's not a good idea.
Because this is explicitly like the human versions of all of them.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Yeah, you're right. That's way worse.
No, I'm saying no, that's better. Imagine if it was just the literal ponies.
No, I would be infinitely less okay with that. Although Horse Cat does make his like living pretty much drawing like MLP porn, so not gonna
hey, yeah.
knock
just
it.
You'd have the presenting hindquarters pose.
It's doggy style only, horsey style.
Anyway, here she is. They've all been updated to kind of have like more source accurate eyes, and I posted a GIF. Maybe Solitaire can find a better reference art for Equestria Girls, it's called. But I mean, it's pretty damn close. I'm really proud of Mimans for kind of going with this. I'm not sure if he did it or if Horse Cat did it for him, but it looks a lot like the updates for the other two.
Yeah.
So she looks
really
more
cute.
in line with them.
Yeah, she's just, and she's still really cute. Like I think the style I was like very much like at first, but I'm like yeah.
Yeah, it's very much, when I first saw it, like, out of context, just as a picture on its own, it was kind of like, does that work? But no, I think it does, yeah. I think they've done the art really well, and I mean, obviously it's a different style to a lot of the other characters, but I think it still works pretty well.
I think 1-to-1 almost always looks better in the end, and every time it happens, you get people who bitch and wanted the old one, and they're just stupid and need to stop holding artists back. Because it's always like, it doesn't mesh with the SPNatI style. It's fuck you. SPNatI style is piece of shit 2017 Kisuke because nobody knew how to do anything. I want the characters to look how they should look.
Yeah, now we can get source accuracy, although that's also horrifying because Kisuke is a hell program. But yeah, I have so much respect for the artists who can get source accuracy, because when you do, it's really impressive and looks great. And yeah.
nmasp, any other thoughts?
No, I mean, I think I've always really liked Fluttershy. I think she's super cute. I'm kind of surprised, like, she's only just recently got on the main roster. That's while we've been like fucking slow rolling it for a while. She's really cute. I like the new model. I think she's really well written. I think that's I like targeting her with sucrose. I would love to do a dual forfeit with those characters at some point. She's really cute. Great job.
Honestly, the ponies in this game are so good. It makes me forget that they come from My Little Pony.
Yeah, like I gotta say, like all of them are really strong characters. They're all really cute. They're all really well written. And like Fluttershy is like, it's weird because like she's that niche of like, ooh, I'm so innocent. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm nervous. But then
they're just like candy coated waifus.
Yeah, it's like they're like sweet tarts. they're all like sweet tarts, and I just want to put them in my mouth. So anyway,
yeah, she's sweet and innocent, but like plays the line of like still interested, which I think is a very important.
Right, exactly.
They're all so much better than they have any right to be.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, not to judge people who like My Little Pony, but I'm going to judge them super harshly anyway. But yeah, they're good.
I mean, the whole brony thing kind of died out a while ago, I think. So,
and we can all be glad for that.
Whoever's left, I guess, is whoever's genuinely talented.
Yeah, genuinely talented and passionate, and genuinely likes the characters, and that's good.
And they have human designs, even better.
Yes.
And they're human designs that the writers in SPNatI didn't have to make up. All right. Speaking of vaguely human animals, we have a character who was like dead or nearly on the brink of death during last podcast, but she has miraculously risen. Someone cast life or life 3 or whatever. She had auto life going on.
Raise.
Big Phoenix down? Is that?
Oh yeah, it's called Raise. I'm used to the fucking like.
It used to be life. It's apparently Raise now.
I'm used to the fucking SNES translations where it was just like life, life 2.
Life for waifu.
It's Ishtola. She's alive from Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, I've never played any.
And the more I absorb from this source, the more apparently people love her.
Yeah, I've never played
really popular.
any.
I'd never heard of her.
Final Fantasy games, but yeah, I've seen art of her before, and I didn't recognize her at first.
A cat girl with white hair, guys. Like it's not that complicated.
She has a reputation for being savage.
Okay. All right, yeah, I'm on board now.
I mean, yeah, cat girl with white hair. She's cute. Like, let's be clear. I understand why people enjoy her and why there's so much content about her because she's good.
Okay.
Yeah, she's the model work. That's does he want to go by Just Kidding or Fence, or I know he's credited in game as Fence. But it's good art. It's good art, is what I'm saying.
We have to mention every time, same guy who made Bobobo, because he contains multitudes.
Fucking baffling. Fucking baffling.
That's mark of true talent. It's
like these are two different things that you have consolidated them.
Yeah, it's just insane. I mean, yeah, he's incredibly talented and does great work.
Fence is just a better writer than me. That's just what it is, and I'm just like super jelly about it. Like I'm like, God damn, dude.
Fence is a better writer than everyone, and that's something we just have to accept.
We just have to accept it. It's just like, the guy who comes out with like, I made Bobobo, and you're like, yeah, whatever. And then it's like, I also made your Stola, and you're like, okay. And then you're like, oh, actually.
Yeah, and he's got another character from under a bridge or something like that, and like Neo Yokio, and it's just such a spectrum. And
the thing about Neo Yokio, by the way, is like if he actually rides Cascon, I'm gonna like lose my shit because that's the funniest fucking thing. This is like an anime. It's not really an anime. It's like a Western style animation that looks like anime, where the main character is like literally voiced by Jaden Smith, and they got Jude Law to play an emotionless robot. It's like it's just a baffling show.
Yeah,
And
it's
the best
notoriously
summary.
insane.
It's just so.
Getting back on topic here, what do you think about Ishtola?
I
But
think
it's
she's.
being on topic. That's not what this is about, is it?
I think she's good.
Have mercy on our editor.
I think with Yashtola, the one thing that I don't really care for is just like I feel like she doesn't go out of her way to target other people. And even like with inbounds, she doesn't. This is gonna be my theme, by the way. It's like I targeted your character and then you didn't respond, and I'm like slightly salty about it. But it like actually,
I showed you my lines, and please respond.
Yeah, I think I would like to see like I just wish she had more outbounds. That's like really it. Like that's the simplest version I can say is like I just wish she had more outbound lines to target other characters because I think there's a lot going on here that could be very, very interesting if she bothered to interact with other people. And that's kind of my only complaint. I think she's like fine as is, but it's a game about interactions, and I wish there were more of them. That's all.
Any other thoughts?
No. She's just good. Yeah.
She's good. She's savage. She's cute. She's a little kitty cat. She will claw at your furniture and then be like, "What are you gonna do about it, bitch?" Anyway, speaking of cats and the raising of other animals, we have one of many Pokemon protagonists, some of which already exists, more of which are on the way.
Okay.
And one that almost didn't cross the finish line, if not for the
grace of Nord himself.
The save, sliding into to finish the job. We have Rosa from Pokemon Black and White 2, which I'm currently playing. It's pretty fun. As I wait for like computer parts to show up so I can actually do things.
Yeah.
Rosa had quite the development history of like going in various directions in her writing and such, but I'll let you talk, Clockwork.
Yeah, I've never really engaged much with Pokemon as a brand, but
that makes two of you.
Yeah, me neither, dude.
Yeah, she explores different aspects of the world thanks to the good writing that's going on here and not in actual Pokemon things as I understand it, but she's explored parts of the world that haven't been kind of relevant in other characters, and that's been interesting. She's as with basically every character we've covered, basically every character we've covered and will cover. Model's great. Specifically she has that one pose where she like leaning forward and being like, that sound's not going to come through
the
very
meme
well.
Pose.
The meme pose.
The meme pose is great.
The hit or miss pose.
That's the pose, yeah.
I don't tend to go for those, but then again, my characters have no memes associated with them.
Yeah, those famous Vandred memes from the show Vandred that everyone knows and loves.
Everyone knows and loves Vandred. What are you talking about?
Hey, shut up, okay? If this was 2000, we'd be having a different conversation.
True.
No, we wouldn't. It's still Vandred.
Actually, we wouldn't be having a conversation because we wouldn't be on Discord. So.
Fuck off. It was legitimately popular when it came out.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Go ahead.
It just aged out of relevance, kind of like Genshin Impact will. I'm
not offended by that. I never cared in the first place. You can't hurt me. Anyway, Spinanon, what do you think about Rosa?
I'm curious, since this is just like a quick adoption to get her across the finish line, I'm curious how much Nord intends to continue updating her. Because his two big things were the things that actually make her distinct from other Pokemon protagonists, which is what I would do to focus on, which is she runs a basically a strip mall called Join Avenue, and she is a star in Pokestar Studios, which is basically like Hollywood. It's called Pokewood in Japan, where you star in movies. Basically, they're like puzzle battles, and those are like the two. Black and White 2 are known for having a lot of side content, and those are probably the two most distinct. out of all of them. So it's definitely good to hammer that. I mean, if you're going to go for a relatively featureless protagonist, you might as well hammer on the stuff that makes them unique. So I'm curious how much he intends to keep going with that, because that's a good direction to take.
Yeah, I think he actually I played her recently and it's just like I can't tell if it's placebo effect or what, because I trust Norda as a writer. But like I think the like movie star stuff got upregulated quite a bit. And I just think she's like, for whatever reason, a lot easier to play with these days than before, where I was just like, there's not really a lot here, though the model is really cute. Like the model is like absurdly cute.
I still disagree with her proportions. She looks like too mature, kind of aged. She's got like a broad chest and she's all hippie. And to be clear, like her body in a vacuum looks really good. I just think like it needs to be like shrunk down proportionally, because Rosa just doesn't look like that.
I mean, I think her hair needs to be bigger.
Right, her buns need to be bigger. That's her most defining feature. People love those buns. There needs to be poses where she's like eating a donut.
Yeah. I don't really have a whole lot to say, but that's kind of, I think she's really cute.
I'm glad she got pushed to the finish line. She's cute. The model deserves to be on main, and the writing that Nord's put into her definitely deserves to be on main. I think probably there's some other stuff from the original writing that also deserved to be on main, but hadn't been put there yet. It's good.
It's good.
Yeah, he's just done a lot of small touch-ups that I think have added up in a big way.
Yeah, I think it works out. I think she's ready to just be on main. I think, yeah.
But it's not a bad body. It just reminds me of like the typical like Rule 34 Patreon artist that just has like pastes characters' heads onto the same like Giga MILF body.
Mega MILF.
Mega Milk.
Mega Milk. All right.
Well, anyway, okay, so in Kanto we had Zubat, and in Unova, where Rose is from, we have Woobat. And now we have Rouge, the big fat bat titties. She made it in not a long time at all from testing the main. God damn, is she good. Clockwork, what do you think of Rouge?
She good. Yeah, she's I didn't know what to expect from like we've had Amy already, so Sonic characters have good precedent, but yeah, this kind of showed that Sonic isn't just a one-trick pony franchise. I guess that didn't words.
Was there a good precedent? Because we also had classic Amy.
Oh yeah, so 50-50. Yeah, but the work on Rouge has been incredible. I've been trying to keep up with her. I've seen the updates on her furry model that's planning to be implemented, which is also very well done.
Yes, hopefully Solitary can find a picture of that, because I don't have that on hand. But it's shaping up pretty nice.
I'm sure there's one around here somewhere. But yeah, she's good. I like how she like teases other characters about, oh, you're not going to remove something big first. That would be silly. Anyway, here's my tits.
If you want to grab attention, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
And it's not really out of character.
Big fat tats.
And how she gathers valuables at the end of the game after she's out is very, very good. And from what I understand in character,
apparently there's an interaction, or they're working on an interaction, where if she steals all those stuff, all that jewelry, Nami then steals it from her, which is
okay.
funny.
That's fucking hilarious. That's amazing.
That's great.
Oh, those two should duke it out. So some tit to tit combat.
That is something I would pay to see.
Do we have like a table of like the 4 fattest racks?
Big fat bat hats. Yeah, I really like Rouge. I think she's, Phonebox never disappoints as like artist, writer, excellent. this Rouge is really cute. She's got personality, and she's not always like, ooh, I'm nice. She's like I think I had a conversation with Adrian. She's like, you're being a real asshole right now, and it's just like you could be getting laid, but instead you chose to be a dick. And it's just I really appreciate that self-respect. So yeah, I like Rouge. I think she's great.
Yeah, she likes fucking with people, and she doesn't like getting fucked with.
Basically,
Which
I think
leads to a lot of fun interactions.
Yeah, I think my only real complaint is like I just wish she had more lines. I can't tell if that's because she didn't get like a ton of inbounds or what, but the lines that are there are just so good, and I just wish there were more of them. You know what I mean? But it's also like I feel like Rouge is indicative of a trend where like characters will have like a couple very deep interactions, but not like as many as like saturated kind of across the line stuff. Which is fine.
There was definitely, back when the roster was smaller, there was more of an expectation to target everyone notable on the roster. I remember getting like some advice from that like way back when Maya came out. It's like what like people put together a list fairly quickly of like everyone on the roster and their targeted and their targetable qualities, just everyone. Because there's probably like under 200 of them.
Yeah. And
it's tough to do that now.
It was reasonable to do that when the roster was smaller, and now, especially with how fast it's growing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can target every character deeply. I just don't think that's possible. But I do think it's like picking and choosing your characters. Like
you had to start early to do that.
Yeah, I think for me, it's like choosing my like exit cases of like these are characters that I want to target with my characters before I call them done. It's hard. There's a lot more good ones than there used to be.
Yeah.
I feel so jealous of when you talk about your targeted lines with her, because she came out at the worst time for me when I was basically trying to move away from targeting for a while just to get some other updates in, because I really want to target.
Got it.
They're coming, Phone Box, and so am I. Let's see. I think we will finish off the main roster discussions. There's been a few more since this agenda was created, but there's always next time. We'll finish off with a quick mentions of returns to main roster after some stints in testing, some short and some long. Monika made a return, so the Dokis, the 5 Dokis, are reunited. She's been passed around by quite a few hands.
Just like a USB drive.
How ironic that the first Doki was absent for long enough for people to think it's like, hey, how come no one ever added Monika?
Yeah, that's my feeling with Marinette. That's like 90% of Adrian's feedback. It's like, where Marinette? And I'm like, I'm dying.
Just get in the time machine.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, sure, you could go offline and go see Marinette, but like, don't.
Yeah, new Marinette is pretty good. But anyway, Monika, I think
Marinette's good, but old Marinette
was not. Anyway,
we can ignore her. Moving on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I haven't actually played with Monika in a while, but she's great. The new art looks great. Her glitches and stuff are, I mean, obviously it's a technical achievement and very, very impressive. Is there much else to say? She's just good. She's She was good before. She's got improvements. She's still good now.
It was a rather understated update. Her model was polished, her dialogue was polished, but there weren't any huge changes.
And I think that's really good. Like, I think that just goes to show you can kind of hop back in and, you can hop back in, polish a model, and make it look good and be done. Like, I think she's pretty. I've always liked Monika. I think the rework of her is good. I think there was maybe a missed opportunity here to like update Sayori as well, but that's not really that's not a Monika problem. I think it's a good update for her.
I mean, who's really the champion for Sayori?
Yeah, like, I don't know what you do. Like, I know what you do with Sayori. I just don't know how you do her well. Like, the thing you do with her well is like entirely player focused, and that requires like the player to like use the player tags. But anyway.
Wow, player, you've gained a lot of weight.
Hey, you fat fuck. Anyway,
I've seen it like increasing posts on like 4chan or whatever. Like, I love it when they make fun of my chubby body.
it's like, what, guys? Like,
It's the same thing as the small penis humiliation.
I guess so.
I've actually kind of had fun writing small penis appreciation lines.
I just
Like, oh, that looks fine. You know, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. All right, so that's Monika. Let's talk about Nagisa.
Yes, our other return.
I'm really happy that Nagisa made it back in. I think the updates that she got was really strong. I like the fact that she has some deep interactions with Fina and Fluttershy. Full disclosure, I am working on a deeper set of interactions with Natsuki and Nagisa because Andres and I are working on that very slowly.
With who?
Natsuki and Nagisa. Yeah. I really like her. Like, I've always liked Nagisa. I think the biggest thing that I didn't enjoy so much that I do like now is that she has some of the deeper character interactions. The model is definitely a lot better. But I just think that's the big thing that like makes it hard for me to play with Nagisa is that she does really deep lines with a few characters, but Ardris did do a really good job of like updating her basic generics. So I believe there's enough of them now that it's a little less repetitive and you can get more mileage from her.
Nagisa has always kind of represented like classic SPNatI to me. So
yeah,
I'm glad
I agree with that.
Around.
I like that take.
I'm glad she's gotten this update.
Yeah, I like that take.
Yeah, she gives she's kind of a different experience when you play with someone that she's got those deep targets to versus when you don't, because she can be a little plain when you aren't playing with someone that she's got the deep targets to. But I think this update's really, as you said, it's made it so that even if it's a little plain, it's like sweet and cute and she's still fun to play with, even if you're not with one of the deep targeted characters. And if you are one of the deeply targeted characters, then it's great.
I think my personal metric is like, can I get 5 games out of this character with like across a bunch of combinations and really enjoy them? And I think the answer is yes. I think Nagisa can do that now and do it really confidently. If you do like one of those with Fluttershy, one of those with Fina, and then 3 in various other permutations, I think you're in good shape.
Yeah.
Imagine thinking that the original Nagisa could hold a candle at all. Or any of the ponies or anything. Like, what? Come on. Not to mention she actually looks older in this new model because the proportions are better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is she holding, by the way? It's called the dongo? What is that?
It's like a little like red bean bun sweet thing. It's like a plushy version of it.
Okay. Well, that concludes main roster for this episode. I'm sure there will be more to talk about next time. But that should catch us up for a while. We have even more characters on testing lined up. And again, I don't think we'll get to all of them, but we should get through a fair few of them. Definitely the oldest ones that have been awaiting feedback for quite a while. I definitely have some stuff to say on each of these lined up.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So, kicking off the testing lineup is a character that came out all the way back in October and honestly hasn't made too many waves in like dev discussion. She's kind of just been quietly sitting there. We have Yuna, not the lesbian from Kindred Spirits on the Roof, but from the questionably bicurious summoner from Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2, although this is, I think, specifically from Final Fantasy X, which I am passingly familiar with, but I have not played. It is quite popular. She's some kind of summoner. She's like involved in the church, but like the church is evil. The Church of Yevon. Praise be to Yevon, brother.
The church is always evil.
I'm just saying, brother.
Stay away from the all bed.
The all bed, just saying, brother. Waka, why did your class... I think that my favorite Super Best Friends joke is like, Waka, when did your class change to Grand Wizard? Don't worry about it, brother. Anyway, Clockwork, what do you think about Yuna?
Yeah, I've never played, as I think I mentioned with Ishtola, I've never played any Final Fantasy, so I'm exactly as I'm even less aware of Yuna because I haven't even seen art of her. But she's and she seems nice, cute. Her facial proportions seem a little bit off from the art that I've seen. Like some of it works. I'm not an artist, so I can't really comment on that too well. And I think it's one of those weird things where whenever I looked up stuff of her, she had all the pictures of her had her with a different staff than the one she has in the game. I think is like it's got a big circle on the end with three kind of eye things. But I don't know if that's like a story thing.
She
I
could
don't
probably
know.
equip different staves.
Probably, but like all the art I saw of her had her with a different one, which makes me think that one's iconic. So like maybe that one would be better, unless there's a story reason that she shouldn't have that one, in which case don't give it to her. Again, I don't know the character.
I have played Final Fantasy games, but I've only played some of the 2D ones. I am a manufactured boomer.
I mean, it's a reasonable thing to do.
I wish I could talk with more authority on the subject.
I do want to call out her magic poses as being fun, though. That's something that not many characters, or plenty of characters do it, but having characters like demonstrate their abilities is always it's fun, especially when they've got unique art for it. So I think she's got a couple of different spells that she can cast depending on her stage of, depending on how many clothes she's wearing at the time, which I assume is not how it works in Final Fantasy X, but I wouldn't be opposed to.
I think she's primarily a summoner, which I'm really glad she didn't like summon Bahamut and just destroy it. Could have in 2018. That's definitely what would have happened.
We get that's how we got Y'shtola. You can only play her after like Yuna has destroyed the realm with Bahamut.
Omega Flare the inventory.
Yeah, I know that like summoners her class. She kept mentioning that's something I think she could improve a bit. Like she talks about summoners and having a particular role and how she's the high summoner. I like clearly that's a thing in universe. I don't think she explains it well enough to people who aren't initiated into that universe. I think that could be improved a little bit. But yeah, other than that, she's pretty cute. I think the design work on her skirt is really impressive with the like constellation of flowers thing. Yeah. What else? She felt like she was a little lacking in generics when I played her, but also maybe she but yeah, I felt like she was a little lacking in generics, but maybe that's less of an issue if you play with someone that she's got. She's got relatively few lines, doesn't she?
Yeah, she only has like 700 lines.
I would agree. She's kind of repetitive. I saw a lot of repetition.
I think I was going to say she doesn't have like a lot of lines, so I think this is like a decent first effort for CJ from a writing perspective. Like you said, I think there's some art.
This isn't his first character.
What else did CJ do?
I think he did Winter. I think he's working on Lucy. He's been around.
I see. Okay. I think it's like a good first attempt at Yuna then, because I think there's some good lines in here, but the biggest thing is like to the point that Clockwork was getting at. I think like a lot of these lines feel pretty generic, and I think like you have to keep in mind that each of these have to be something that Yuna would say, and I think that's I don't know. She's like a little ENF, but like I get why. I just think like if you're trying to revise this, go take a look at how Fina does it, and start there is probably what I would do to get that like sheltered but not odd feeling. Like she doesn't feel shameful or anything like that. It's just sort of like, you know.
She did have like a couple weird kind of non-con-ish lines here and there.
Yeah.
Generally, that wasn't the vibe I got, but it was there.
Yeah, that's what.
She was kind of all over the place.
Yeah, I think that like the model is actually pretty interesting. Like I think Raptor is onto something here. But for CJ, I'd say, if this is what you want to do, definitely go for it. If it's got to come after finishing up Lucy, who's on test, I'd say focus on Lucy first. Because I think there's some writing polish that could go into this, but I'm not quite sure where to begin.
I agree. She's repetitive. I also agree that she has like good lines here and there. Occasionally, it was like she made me chuckle somewhat, or think, oh, that's pretty interesting. She needs to talk a little bit more. She needs to like relate the things she says to like the events of Final Fantasy X as like a refresher or an introduction. She wastes a lot of lines of like hand quality where she could be explaining herself better, and instead she's just like, well, sometimes you have to take a risk, or I don't know how these cards are going to turn out. No one cares. She's generally kind of shy, but in some poses she looks weirdly confident. I don't know, especially like when she's casting magic. I don't know if that's just kind of a disconnect between writer and artist, but that's stood out to me as kind of weird. Again, it's another thing that kind of made her feel all over the place. She has one stage later on, she has like little peaks of her underwear, sort of, when she tilts her body. I think that's something that's a fun little thing that characters can do with their clothes that I wish more did. It kind of, something to titillate the player a little. Let's see. She has a lot of lines about how she's famous as a summoner and how it's nice to not be famous here, and yet sometimes she acts as if she is famous to these people. That's another thing that felt kind of all over the place. In general, I think she spent a little too much time sort of being apologetic and apologizing for things. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm too famous, or I'm not having enough, or sorry if I'm not having enough fun, or if I'm kind of stripping weird, or if I'm not stripping something big enough. And it's like, I don't know, that kind of brings things down. It makes the other characters feel like they're just being really unfriendly to her when they're not. I think like kind of get over the fact that she's there and move into something else, and move into more interesting lines is what I would say. Those are my general thoughts. I think there's definitely something here for you to work with. I think you just need to figure out what it is. Like she has a lot of she doesn't have a whole lot of defining characteristics at this point, is what I would say. There's stuff there, but you need to dive into it deeper.
Yeah.
Also, her masturbation really sucks. I'll let you talk though, Clockwork.
Oh no, I was just going to say that I think she needs polish, but there is good stuff underneath.
What is this? What is this? Okay, let's ignore the nipple pinch for a second. Because stop with the nipple pinching. Who thought this was acceptable? Who committed the original sin of doing the nipple pinch? And nobody pinches their nipples. Maybe they do a little bit if they're into S&M, but in general, this is weird. Do you give yourself a purple marble when you're beating off? Oh, and she has like a giant vibrator. She makes some kind of comment about Machina, which, okay, haha, that's funny. She doesn't use machines. Can I see the goods here? Like, it's just a big ball of plastic covering everything that I want to look at. And it's like, where throw me a bone as the player here. This is a visual medium, and I can't see shit. This is why I don't like using toys and forfeits, for this exact reason. Those are my thoughts.
And they are entirely reasonable thoughts.
Any other final comments, or are we ready to move on?
I'm good to move on.
Good to move on.
All right. Moving on then to perhaps the most anticipated rework of all time, perhaps?
Possibly of all time, yeah.
Of all time.
Of all time.
Of all time. So it has been a meme basically ever since we got good, to any extent, that Samus is just a piece of shit character. Old Samus, I mean. Because You could argue for a lot of reasons. A lot of people said she was too horny. Me personally, I think she was horny in a really boring way, where she just had no personality and like nothing interesting to say for herself. So, Cool Cat and Metalitar took it upon themselves to recreate Samus in their own image to produce Samus Aran, who starts off in her power suit, funnily enough. I guess just as an art flex, because why else would she show up in that? And then, but also in her classic. Oh, you love to see that Zero suit. Look at it. That's the good stuff. Even got the highlights.
Yeah. I think the power suit's iconic. So I think having it up here, it didn't necessarily even have to be a stage. But even if she like appears in it and immediately takes it off to start the game, I would have been fine with that. But having it as a stage in and of itself is, that's fun. I think it's good, and the transformation animated pose I think is really good as well.
But yeah, so like the main aim of this rework basically was to give her a personality, I assume, and kind of tone down the horniness. Again, I don't think it's a bad thing to be horny in this game, but I think you should be horny with some kind of purpose or some kind of character to it. And like old Samus was just kind of like bottom of the barrel, just low effort, just like she's horny for the player, but not in any specific or particular way.
He was just a porn parody, basically.
Just nothing interesting.
There's a place for that, but it's not really here.
You could be horny and be interesting, and she wasn't.
Yeah, agreed.
So you could do a lot more with her. But anyway, let's stop talking about the past.
Let's not fixate on the past and focus on the present.
Clockwork, what do you think of the reworked Samus?
I think she's really good. I think everything feels very shiny, which like maybe it's a little too shiny in places, but that's like nitpicking, and it's excellent art. She felt like she had a decent number of lines. I'll just double check how many that is.
She doesn't have that many lines. Only like 800.
Yeah. Despite that, it felt like she had deceptively many when I played her, but maybe I just got lucky with the number of lines that that didn't repeat, I guess. Something that I think I forgot to actually mention this I think I meant to make a bug report about it, but her feet are cut off in a bunch of no estimation poses, which was, I forgot to make. That's probably not something for the podcast. I should probably mention that separately. I'll just make a note of that. Yeah, okay. But yeah, she felt like a good take on like stoic kind of spacefaring character. I don't know if we've got any other of those. SPNanon, you a fan of that sort of character?
I have some tone and writing criticism that is coming from a very personal place on that subject, but I'll let you talk.
I think I've basically covered everything I want to. I think I'm pretty happy with her. As the rework, in my eyes at least, and obviously I have less personal investment, has done a very good job at making her more of a character. I think there were a couple of tone things I noticed that were like, don't know if a space bounty hunter would really talk like this, but that's, I don't know.
What do you mean? Or like examples?
There was particular, hers was one of the first test games that I played, so I'm trying to remember the specific. It was something like she was too casual about when she was speaking about something in particular. I can't remember what it was. This isn't helpful feedback, I know. I'd have to go back and look at her lines to.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah,
I would say with Samus.
I have some like kind of more specific examples if you want me to get into that.
Yeah, go
Spin,
ahead.
you should go for it. I'll say my 2 cents first. It's like I think the power suit's really nice. I think adding that in makes a lot of sense. I think the model update is
It's
absolutely
impossible not to target.
yeah. I think the model updates are just absolutely fantastic. I think she looks great. I think there's some other stuff here that's a little bit more. I think what Spinon's going to say, but I just wish there was more levity to her because she just feels very dry when it's like that's not really. I think the Samus I've built in my mind, but I also saved old Samus from like perpetual dying, so I'm a little biased. Like I think porn parody Samus is a problem. Don't get me wrong, but I think the new one could be a little bit more like that.
The evil could have been vanquished years ago, nmasp, and you didn't cast it into the fire.
No, I didn't, and I don't regret a single moment.
Why not?
Because
You really should.
Shame is for the guilty. Anyway, go ahead.
Let me get into it. Far be it from me to claim I'm some sort of Metroid expert. I have played 0 Metroid games, but I have played Super Smash Bros. Brawl. And
I also have one more thing to say. Actually,
and,
is
and
like
Zero Suit Samus in that game. Let's just say it was a watershed moment.
it awoke you. I have one more thing to say before you get into it because I don't want to throw off your rhythm when you're in the middle. But like,
I have no clue if her characterization in that game is at all accurate to how she is normally portrayed. But
well,
I also get the sense that she doesn't really have a character, so you could kind of do whatever you want.
I think like Napsu is an incredibly big Metroid fan. Actually, like we have a whole like bunch of Metroid stuff around the house. Like one of the anyway. So Napsu really loves Metroid, and I'm thinking like to your point earlier with like Hutao. I think if Napsu like joined the Samus project, that's like I think that's my regret. My regret is not so much like letting old Samus live, but not letting new Samus thrive. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But
Never too late.
I want to give you your time in the sun.
So yeah, as I assume the goal here, I don't know if that's right, but the goal is to make like smart, no nonsense, stoic space lady, right? Like that's the goal. And if that's the case, well, I do have let's say a fair amount of experience writing that sort of character and working out the kinks of that character and that tone. Samus reminds me a lot of Maya's early lines, which is not surprising because it's the kind of thing you would do if you're writing a stoic girl for the first time. It's a lot of the mistakes like that. There's a lot of, let's see, I think she really needs to be terser. Like her lines in general, her lines already aren't that long, but they need to be even shorter. Like if she's like focused on the mission and she's like super matter of fact, like that is the tone you want. And she shouldn't have like any side thoughts or like parenthetical stuff or like she just shouldn't need to feel like she has to justify herself or anything she says. Like she should be like so serious or so direct that it's kind of intimidating. Or she's not even trying to be intimidating. It's stuff like, "Ooh, I noticed you were staring at my. I noticed you were looking over here, player. Is that my midriff you're looking at?" And it's like, no, that's too long. That's too long. If you want Samus, I feel like it should be like, "You're staring at my midriff, player." Like that's it. Like that's how terse she should be. It's like, or like, "You're staring at me." It's like, is it my? It's my midriff, or something like that. She shouldn't be. I don't know. I guess if she really doesn't know, she could ask questions, but I think that's something I moved away from is like Maya doesn't ask questions if she kind of already knows what she wants to say. There's a lot of other things. There's a lot of other small quirks of writing in there. Like she uses a lot of ellipses like in the middle of her sentences, in the middle of her thoughts, like she doesn't know what she wants to say next. I think Samus, as stoic space lady, she should know what she wants to say. you could put ellipses at the beginning or at the end, but in the middle makes it sound like she's not really sure of herself. I don't know if you want to make it so she's not like sure of herself. Again, I don't really know what you want to do with this character, but it felt kind of off if you're trying to go for like sexy in kind of a scary way. Because she a lot of what she did, she omitted the starts of sentences. Like instead of like, I can't say that this is going on, she's like, can't say that this is going on, or sure is a bummer. And I think if you want that serious, very direct tone, you want like complete sentences. Like, because otherwise, cutting off words like that sounds very casual. I think I criticized her in text before. She sounded like kind of like a drinking buddy. She sounded a lot like Jim, which this was written by Jim's writer, and I think a lot of that is poking out through. She sounds like she's got some like Clint Eastwood one-liners in there, sort of, or she's thinking of something snappy. It's like should she really be like snappy or clever? Like I think she's just really direct. Like, what's clever about her? She's smart and proactive, but she's not like witty. I think he keeps trying to be witty, and it's like, well, Samus isn't witty. Like if you're witty, that requires you to be like sociable and to talk to people a lot. She doesn't know how to do that. Let's see, pose wise, I think like she doesn't move around a whole lot, which I understand with the power suit. But when she's down to like the zero suit and her underwear and stuff, she feels kind of stiff. I don't see much variety in that or like her facial expression. I know she's supposed to be stoic, but it's like, I don't know, she like tilts very slightly and moves her head and hips around just a little bit, which for like a super soldier, for like a super flexible, like she can move around in all these crazy ways. She doesn't give the impression of being all that flexible, which is kind of a shame. And again, like if you're trying to make her emote more, she doesn't do that a whole lot. I think there's a lot of like inner horny dialogue, or like later on in the game, there's a lot of like there's a lot of like telling and not showing. There's a lot of like, you've got some real nice features, or I'm super interested in this. It's like, you need to show that she's interested. And instead, she just has like this really mild smile, and she just kind of says that she's interested. But she doesn't really feel that way. I think a lot of these criticisms, it's hard to know how to criticize this because I just don't know what you want to do with her. And it's hard to give guidance because, like, what are you supposed to get out of her, really? Or like, where are you supposed to go with her? So yeah, there's just a lot of things going on here. Like, do you want her to be more curious? Do you want her to be kind of intimidating? But my main criticism and what I think would alleviate a lot of these issues, at least where I would take it, is just like, be terse, be direct. Don't be witty. She's not witty. Like, this is someone who doesn't talk to people a whole lot. She's very, very forward, very matter of fact, very like, I'm here for this and that. And I know I'm sexier, that men would like me, but I don't have a lot of experience with that, so I'm just going to state it outright. Because like, would she be embarrassed? I don't know. There are so many question marks with this character, which I don't blame them for like running into all these pitfalls, but it's just weird. Those are my extended thoughts. I think I've spoken for long enough.
I think that was, yeah, I mean, I think that detailed feedback is passionate feedback. Like, you can't like give feedback like that without caring. Yeah.
It's like there's like, she's got like little vocalizations too. Like she just thought of something on the spot. She's like, or And it's like, again, I always try to cut those out when I write for Maya. It's that same sort of thing where she would not want to give the illusion of, she doesn't want to give the impression that she's like thinking on the spot, because that kind of takes away from her image of strength. And like, does she want to appear vulnerable in front of other people? I guess you could do that, but the problem is that whenever Samus is vulnerable, people don't like that. Hashtag other M. So, considering how little there is to the character, I think you could get a lot more mileage out of very stoic, to the point, dominant, intimidating space mommy. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's the Samus people like, isn't it? Don't try to make her vulnerable or sociable or witty. Just go all in on the, yeah, I'm here. Let me see your junk. Except don't say junk, say penis.
Show me your cock, bro.
Samus is not nice cock partner. That is an excellent penis. That's Samus, right?
That is a superior phallus, sir.
All I think with Samus is the brawl stuff, where she's just like, try me, and oh my. Like, that's all she has. Those are her lines.
All right,
Is that
mother
all?
brain coon.
Yeah. When you come too fast, just like, is that all?
Is that it?
How disappointing. So speaking of blonde Dami Mommy, here's a character who is not as intimidating as Samus, but she's trying her damnedest.
Yeah, she doesn't have the physicality of Samus, but my god, does she have attitude.
She has the mouth of Revy. I felt like threatened as Revy's writer. Like, is this chick gonna end up being like the new swear king?
Is she gonna fucking stab me? Yeah.
It's like fucking shit every other line. And slut.
I think it's like
the most aggressive fucking gremlin.
I really like Nagamimi for that reason. I should target her more, but I'm also just kind of like, hey, I'm gonna be real.
If Hu Tao is like, oh, if only someone loved you, Nagamimi is like, fuck your shit, you piece of filth.
This is why your parents got divorced.
No, that's too subtle for.
Yeah.
I will stick a fork in your fucking eye.
I'm Latte guys. I'm gonna be real with you. If you decide to listen to this episode, like, I will target the shit out of this character. But like, you gotta come to me with a contract that says like you're not gonna like eviscerate me. I already get that at home. I don't need it here. And the fact that this character exists at all gives me great fright, because like the second Napsu walks in the room wearing a fucking like mini hat like that, I'm gonna be like, my balls are finished. This is where I die. So I am like perpetually afraid of this character in the best way. So great job.
Yeah, her dialogue's great. She I think this was I looked into her files after the game because I played her with Mikan, and it was just a quirk of the game that she would just, no matter who was stripping, because Mikan didn't lose, and she's got like 10 lines that will fire with opponent Mikan, not target Mikan, and anyone stripping, but only for Mikan's first layer, which is usually not an issue. But if Mikan just doesn't lose, it was just Nagamimi taking the shit out of her, no matter what was happening elsewhere. She was just going, oh, alright, someone else is stripping off. Anyway, fuck you, Mikan.
Just like, you submissive piece of shit. You're not even worthy of my boots. Like, I played her with Mikan too, and she fucking went in hard on her.
Yeah. I think I actually went through all of her lines targeted at Mikan, and it felt like a lot at the time, but I looked into it, into the files, and it was like, oh no, this is actually reasonable. It's just that this happened to turn out this way that made it seem over the top. Not that she's not over the top on her own, because she's, I think her dialogue is really, really strong. Her art could be touched up a bit, I think, but she definitely has
the pubic hair in particular is a little too light. Like, it looks,
the hair's flat. It's kind of Kisake defaulty.
Well, it is, but it's also like, I think Nagamimi could use a little bit, whatever. Nagamimi can use what she can get, but I also like going to the
It does look like her, but
yeah. Okay, it's good that you have an attractive body. Without it, you'd be truly useless. Oh, wow, you're still here? I thought the janitor took out the trash a while ago. There's like 15 lines like this. I bet it's like you keeps death pretty busy, huh? You know what? Okay, you know what interaction just would...
Jesus,
I'm gonna regret. I'm gonna regret saying this. Do you know what I think? I want to see Nagamimi and Ayano in a game together.
Oh no!
Just
why
that was
Master's gonna revive her?
Oh no, I hate this.
the stuff of nightmares. The stuff of sexy, sexy nightmares.
God, can someone stuff some gauze down her throat or something? I'm getting sick of listening to this bitch's whining. Latte guys, like, I don't know who you are in real life, but man, I'm glad you're working through whatever you're going through on this character. Good job. You're doing the right thing.
I don't even try to make Revy this mean.
This is amazing. Like, this is just
Revy doesn't tend to like.
And then like
Latte
Guy's
tend to go
next
after
character,
like characters that are already really submissive and bullyable because it's just like it's too easy. She doesn't care.
I think Latte Guy's next character is going to be like, who is like the most like ooh woo cinnamon roll that you can imagine, and then just be like, what the fuck is going on here?
Is she gonna like give Nagisa a swirly? Like,
oh man. Also, I wonder what like the stream. I'm just like imagining for my wife, but I'm like, imagine the streaming Chan Nagamimi interactions of like streaming Chan can just like fucking like pull the fucking chainsaw cord and be like, yeah, no filters here, fucker. Anyway.
That is something I would like to see. Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would like to see that, but I'm a bit frightened. I need an adult. Cool.
Yeah. For a character who I'd never heard of her game series at all before she appeared on testing, but she's made a hell of a...
It's one of those titles that's impossible to remember because it's just word salad.
It's like it's from Japan. That's how they are. That sounded really racist. I'm sorry. That's like how their game titles tend to be.
No, it's not racist. It's just it's fine. It's Japan. Like they're not going to get mad at you, and if they are, they're just going to be passive aggressive. So.
They're not listening to this podcast.
I want more.
Oh God, where is it? Now I have to. Damn it.
What's up?
I'm looking for the actual title of her source.
It'll be in her metadata. 7th Dragon 3 code VFD.
What the fuck?
Is that Volunteer Fire Department?
Yeah, Volunteer Fire Department. Very fancy doilies. That's what it's listed as in her metadata.
Anyway, so, let me give my thoughts here.
Yeah, please do.
She's full of character. I think we can all agree on that.
Oh, absolutely.
She has good dialogue. But I saw some repetition. And I think repetition with dialogue, with insults especially, and like being a bitch, is really noticeable and gets old really fast. You need to have a lot of different insults.
Yeah, I would agree with
that. And like different sounding insults.
Filters are a good play. Filters are a good way to solve that, by the way.
It quickly, if you don't, and then it quickly sounds like she's really desperate for attention. Or like really like overly like, why does she have such a problem with this person she just met? I think that's my main criticism or just main concern. Like, I don't understand. It's funny, but I have no fucking idea. Why is she so angry with all of these people? Why does she just want to tear them down? It's kind of like Mordred. She's a lot better written than Mordred, but it's the same thing I commented there, where it's like antagonism and like being an asshole, but it feels kind of purposeless. Like I needed a stronger reason of like why is she like this?
I think she just is.
But I know Revy's kind of generally an asshole, but she also like can have a conversation.
Yeah.
She generally like there are specific things that annoy Revy, and that's what she goes after. But Nagamimi just hates everyone. She does have some good horny dialogue, especially with the player where she does like the Nagamami thing, which I'm not into being dominated by girls who are 4'9", but that's a thing. So at least she's doing that. I think
that's actually something that I think I missed. I think she might have won my game when I played with her.
Yeah, that makes sense. I read her targetable qualities, and apparently the whole asshole thing is like a facade. It's like to show she cares or something like that. I could be wrong on that. I'd have to look again. But I think it's just sort of like an emotional defense. But I did not get that sense at all. She just was like aggressively angry the whole time.
Mm.
Like she just could not wait to step on everyone. Which is definitely a character trait, but...
So this offends my libertarian sensibilities. My Gadsden flag. Yeah. The Gadsden flag looks on in terror. No step on snack.
Are we ready to move on?
Yeah.
There's a lot of potential here. I'm just not sure where it's going exactly. So okay, so I guess we'll talk about Nagamimi's favorite victim now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
with her fear pose, another Dango Rango. Dang it, Ron Paul. Dang it, Ron Paul, libertarian Gadsden flag, hashtag. Mikan, I don't remember her last name.
Tsumiki.
Mikan Tsumiki, who's like the ultimate nurse. And she is very submissive. She is very kowtowing. She is very deferent. She's a total doormat to everyone around her, and she just likes being helpful. And in Nagamimi's case, being helpful means getting stepped on.
Ooh.
From the creator of Levitain.
She's cute. I've not engaged with Ron Paul very much. I know that the character designs look basically like this. It's good art. But she seems...
It's really good art, yeah.
She seems, very, very much like a doormat, which seems to be in character, which makes it good, I think. She's kind of, not as well as being a doormat, she's kind of just like a nervous wreck about everything, which did feel appropriate when she was paired with Nagamimi. But yeah, you kind of feel sorry for her, which that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I think that is what her character's supposed to be. It's maybe not. I don't know. It's not necessarily very sexy to feel sorry for someone.
Is it? Are you supposed to like bully her like Bernie? Is that what the appeal is?
Maybe, but I like Bernie. Bernie feels more bullyable because she's less. I don't know.
She's kind of paranoid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Where it's like I think there could be a little bit more here, where she leans into the game a little bit more and enjoys it. Because that is my similar big complaint. I'm like, yeah, she's very vulnerable, and I think that's cute, but it's a little bit like in kind of the circumstances.
Yeah, I think she's good and well written and well done.
Yeah,
I think the writers achieved what they were looking to do. I'm just not. I think maybe putting it in a slightly different direction for the sake of the game might be a good idea.
I thought she was very cute. She had a lot of funny lines. She also had. She wasn't like a total one note. Like she did have some stuff with like giving out health tips. Again, that's her trying to be helpful, but it was something.
Yeah.
She did have some repetition. She was very expressive. I felt like this is something that I think kind of is emblematic of a strong character. It's kind of like it's like Nagamimi too, where I immediately understood what the writer was going for and what the character's all about. You know, she's a doormat. She wants to be helpful. She's a nervous wreck. I got all those things right away, so that's very good. I think she kind of succeeds where something and like having really strong characteristics where someone like Yuna kind of faltered, because like Yuna had like weirdly normal apologetic lines, whereas Mikan is like funny apologetic. She apologizes for things that, because like Yuna apologizes for things that like kind of make sense, but it's also that makes it not very memorable. Whereas Mikan's kind of like Bernie, where she apologizes for like not losing the hand.
Yeah, she makes apologies that no reasonable person would ever fault her for.
Yeah, and that's just what let her
Which is,
be a lot
it's
more
good comedy,
memorable.
yeah.
Also, is the idea with this character that she cuts her own hair? Because I mean, look at that.
Yeah, I looked up art, and that's what her hair looks like. I don't know what's up with her hair, but
Every single strand is like a different length. Yeah. So in general, I'm just happy to, like, I think because this writer also made Levitane, I was worried that like she'd be a little too inexpressive because Levitane's very stoic. And I think she does it fairly well, but I was worried that this character would kind of be the same thing where she just doesn't have a whole lot going on, or like she didn't have any strong characteristics, and I think they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, she's good. Yeah, she's good. I mean, I think there's some improvement to be done, to be very clear, but I think the things that work here work really well. I think she's very expressive. I think the writing is good. I just wish she was a little less vulnerable.
Mm-hmm. Give her like one other trait to round it out, I think.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I actually think that's just so.
Because she is kind of helpful. She is kind of happy when she's giving out the health facts, because that also makes her feel helpful. So if there was just like some other thing she could do to make herself feel helpful,
I think like
a more positive
this is
way.
just kind of fan. Yeah, I think this is just kind of fan on. But like, if you're hurting for targeted lines and like 700 total written, you probably are. I think if you target characters and were like, this is like what's good about their health, this is what's not. It just like kind of is like an internal observation that could get you some mileage, and then like that can be an entire stage, and then the next stage can be like I don't know, Miki, Aaravi is next, or like Aaravi, do you need help with like anger issues, or like Miki, with only a single hand, do you need, have you thought about a process, shit like that, right? Like there's something to that, and then you can move into the sexier lines to be like, oh, well, that's interesting, something like that.
Maybe even if she did something like, to play with her doormat personality, I'm losing here. I should be sexy for everyone else, and be
right.
That might be a fun niche to kind of look at, and have her try to be awkwardly, bumblingly sexy, and then apologize for when she
overcome her fears a little.
Yeah,
that'd be good. I don't know if Danganronpa is a lot like Fire Emblem, where they're all just like stereotypes and they have one personality trait. But there's something you could do here, and I like where she is right now. All right, so I think we're kind of running out of time, so I think we will end off with one final character. Does that sound good to everybody?
Yep. Yeah, sounds good.
Because a very special character that we the whole reason, I mean, a big reason that we wanted Clockwork on for this particular episode, because this is his character. This is Aaravi from Monster Prom. So why don't you go ahead and tell us about her and like what you want to do with this character, like describe her a little and explain what her deal is and where you want to go with the project.
Yeah. So Aaravi is this goddamn insane, completely over the top gamer gremlin monster hunter. Her world is insane, and she is appropriately insane to fit it, because she's basically a parody of adventure game characters like Link and others, but Link's the only one that's coming to mind at the moment, where when she interacts with the world, it will act exactly as Diablo characters. I know that her design is based on one of the Diablo player classes. So the world reacts to her exactly as if it were a video game, but it's not the video game that she actually exists in, which is weird, and she herself has all sorts of issues. She's working to overcome trauma around her family situation. She's just all kinds of messed up and cute and adorable, and I love her. So what I've been working on with her is I haven't touched her in a couple of days as of recording because I've been working on Hilda stuff, but I want to flesh out her generics a bit more and give her more filtered lines. Because at the moment I'm trying to make her react to different characters based on kind of how she perceives them. So she's very rude and unapologetic to people who she sees as beneath her, which is basically anyone without combat skill. And then I've already got in place stuff for people with, I believe it's the fighter tag, people who she sees as a potential either threat or ally or someone that she thinks is at least worthy of respect as a rival. And I'm planning on adding lines to people with, I think it was the magic or medic tag or something like that. And she'll talk to them like and try to recruit them as like supports and healers to just stand back and heal her as she needs them so that she can adventure better. And she's got some lines already to various types of monsters, but I intend to flesh that out more. But yeah, basically, she's just an insane, overconfident gremlin that tries to hide her emotional weaknesses by being strong. Or pretending to be strong. And actually being strong. She could murder lots of people. And she chooses not to, because she's in therapy.
Sounds like Revy.
Yeah, she's a lot like Revy and a lot different from Revy. Especially because her setting is modern, but she chooses to use like the standard like monster slayer weapons. So she uses melee weapons, crossbows, and that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna kind of follow from what I said with Nagamimi, where it's kind of she's another character that is kind of interesting, but she's also kind of hard to engage with like targeted lines, because not only like first of all, yeah, she's aggressive and angry all the time, and like Jesus Christ, calm down. She's very, very antisocial, you know, in a social game, and she is very close to having a heated gamer moment. And
I
not
think that
only
would
that,
actually be really funny.
not
Don't
only
do
that,
it, but I think it would be really funny.
but not only that, but that she uses a lot of gamer terms, which means other characters just have no clue what the fuck she's even angry about. So, like, it's funny, but I wonder, like, what is the long-term development potential, especially with like targeted interactions, because she is not interested in explaining herself to people that she has no patience for.
I think like she targets Leon a bit, and I actually think that like as dysfunctional as she is, like I think my 2 cents on this is like I think those lines are actually pretty good. But even more than that, like I think this is a really good change of pace for you as a writer, Clockwork. I think Hilda and Mercy are both really strong. I think Aaravi has her own voice to her, which I really like. But I do agree that it's like there has to be an element of defrosting here, because she's like very violent tsundere, basically.
I did see some like lines where she had like some kind of, you know, she had self-awareness. She talked about her therapy and her anger issues and stuff. She had some a lot of funny lines mixed in there. She did make me laugh. I'm worried that like the sexuality is kind of going to get lost in the anger. I need to play with her more. But
yeah, I think that's something that she's I haven't done enough with, is she needs to be more sexual, I think, because I started off trying to do that, but then I kind of realized that in playing the game, she would be here to level grind, because that's who she is. But that creates its own issue of, well, then she's not really enjoying the aspect of the game that we, the players, are all here for. So that's something I do need to revise, and I'm aware of.
You could do something with, like, I don't know, is there a stat she could level up by, like, playing like charisma?
She has literally every stat. She could absolutely do that, yes.
Charisma or like sexual endurance or energy or libido. Could she level that up?
Yeah, I think there's one line in here that's like
bonermancy.
I wrote something about how she's training her erotic defense or something like that.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, defense thing. It's like love spells and love potions. The confused status, like.
Yeah, because as her interaction with the world does mean that like stat bonuses exist, and she has absurdly specific stats, both in her original material and ones that I've given her for the sake of the game.
Or she could just like build supports.
Yeah,
she had a lot of gamer lines, but some of them kind of fell into like a formulaic system where it was like, I really need to X my Y. I really need to quick save my adventure or reshuffle my inventory or something like that. So I think you can get a little more creative with the structure of some of those. Let's see. I want to say her torso's a little too long.
I don't think so.
I think relative to
I actually think relative to her legs, her torso is a little long, but I actually don't think that's a problem. I think it looks right to me at a glance, and she's like part monster, so to me that makes sense. Like, it
looks pretty good when she's like clothed. It's when she's naked that it just. I think it's just a problem Kiseki has in general, because there's just there's a lot of nothing in the details. There's just like a lot of wide open space.
Yeah, it's Kiseke's a hell program, and I've struggled against it a lot. And Ninja Monkey gave me a base model that I worked on quite a bit, but a lot of her stuff is just imports that I drew separately, because there was no way I could get them to work the way I was hoping to get them to work. Her hood is something I'm probably going to replace with an import at some point. Because currently it's hair pieces.
As long as I'm criticizing her art, I think there's one pose. I think it's this one. No, it's not this one. There's one pose where.
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. It's confused. No, maybe not confused, but thinking. Or maybe there's a couple of poses.
There it is. It's soon. There it is. You see it? See her chin? It doesn't look right. Looks like she has a goatee.
That was me trying to do like the going for the kind of high mouth. Ooh.
Yeah, I get what you were going for. It just didn't work for me. It looks like she has a goatee.
That's fair. I need to figure out another way to do that.
She has like a soul patch. Anyway, I wasted like fucking 10 minutes criticizing two tiny pieces, two tiny lines.
Aaravi is really, really different, and I quite like her. I'm just really interested to see where she goes with it. My advice to you would definitely be like, as kind of for all of her challenges, you can lean into like, you could definitely lean a little bit more into the horny stuff. Like, I don't think you had any issues with this on Mercy or Hilda. So I think you can temper some, like, I think where you go with this that makes the most sense is you write the horny lines in a way that are like still vaguely like aggressive and threatening. But then she's like, oh wait, shit, no, I'm trying to flirt with you. God damn it, kind of thing. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. That way I think you get the best of all worlds.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's potential here. I just wish she was a little easier to talk to. And that's kind of the danger of writing a really aggressive character.
Yeah, well, that's, I think, part of that is so she in her original game she's only in there as like a side character, and then when she got expanded into a main character, she was given basically like a slacker curse that hangs around beside her to kind of temper her natural aggressive tendencies. And that's something I decided not to give her in SPNatI because I didn't think Hex was very. The curse is called Hex, which is confusing when you've got a Hex in the community as well.
That's very confusing.
But and I'm going to take this out of I'm not going to take this out of context, but I don't think Hex is very sexy. So I've written Hex out as like being at a bagel shop next door or whatever.
I honestly would not mind having him there if that's important to her dynamic. And
I don't know. It's
you could just make him like really small and like I don't know, poke out behind her shoulder or something.
I mean, I think in fairness, like for Marinette and Adrian, like the Kwamis show up, but they're not like a key thing. I think like having them there is like a hey, listen is fine.
Yeah, I don't know. It's something that I've been considering, that and her therapist, who I was considering having them be characters who can like pop up in. I guess I'd make them custom poses or whatever, and yeah, maybe have them be set by like different markers or whatever, or so there's a chance they'll show up in different games. It's something I've been playing with, but I haven't actually got around to because, again, Kisake is a hell program, and trying to build them in something like that will be an adventure.
I think we're all unanimous on that. nmasp doesn't even touch Kisake.
No, well, I have to do it for Marinette because I'm like, well, maybe we'll see. Phone box might be my saving grace yet.
All right, I believe that concludes things, unless anyone has any
no, we're good.
Things they want to plug or any final thoughts on any of these characters we've covered.
Please target Leon. It makes it a lot easier for me to finish writing him.
We will cover Leon and the other 10 million characters they get added to testing in the next month.
I know, but I just want to say it. Please help me. I need more targets to respond to.
Were you? I don't know. I targeted him a little bit.
A little bit, yeah, but I don't know. It ain't easy being a guy. You got all this. It's all whatever. I don't know. I can't make that funny. It's just gonna sound stupid. All right, good games, guys. Thanks for coming on, Clockwork. Really appreciate having you here. Good luck as always. Yeah, and please play Aaravi. Give her some targets. Give her some love, and keep it up. I also my last piece of advice would be try and put Hilda up for sponsorship, just because you can always model update later.
Yeah, I think I'll probably be doing that. Ideally, by the time the podcast is out, she'll be already sponsored, and this will be a non-issue.
Exactly.
Hey, Solitaire is a little indisposed at the moment, so he might have free time to edit this. I guess we'll see. Anyway, the most important thing I said in this entire 2 hours, whatever, is make Samus exactly like Maya.
Yes, we need a second Maya. Give us a second Maya.
And then have them kiss.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay, yeah.
All right. So long. Thanks for all the faps. Good night and good luck.
Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye.
As long as I'm criticizing her art, I think there's one pose. I think it's this one. No, it's not this one. There's one pose where...
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. It's confused? No, maybe not confused, but thinking. Or maybe there's a couple of poses.
No, that's not
it. Try confused?
Confused, maybe. No. Does she change expressions as she strips? Maybe it's not early on.
Not much.
Am I gonna have to post all of her posts? Damn it. Cut this out. Cut this out, Solitaire. Make it look like I found it right away. No. It's like on her chin. Damn. Fuck this. I'm posting all of them. We'll just go through them.
Cocky, maybe? I don't know.
Where is this damn post? I hate how you can't, like, see it. I'm posting them all. I don't give a fuck. I need to find this. Maybe it's not on stage 0. That might be a distinct possibility, and I've horribly cluttered the chat. Where the fuck is I don't think it's in stage 0.
Oh yeah, it might be because some of the stuff was limited by her like cloak and armor attachments. Try stage 2 or 3. That might, because it
God damn it.
alters them a bit.
This episode is grinded to a halt. There it is. It's soon. There it is. You see it? See her chin? It doesn't look right. Looks like she has a goatee.